welcome to this week's pre-foreclosure tip of the week. Pre-foreclosures, Chris the Drummer Bowles and Bob LaChance. First of all, before we get into this week's tip of the week, next week we actually have our Prop Tracker training and open Q&A webinar. It's killer. Again, Prop Tracker is our online real estate management tool, and every month we have a training webinar and open Q&A. Again, we're going to open up with a case study by one of our top hitting kick butt Prop Tracker members. So make sure you guys get on early on this call. Starts at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time next Wednesday. But anyway, on this week's pre-foreclosure tip of the week, actually we have a lot of tips this week. One of them is going to be the Wells Fargo new authorization. We're going to talk about it a little bit. Then we're also going to talk about the Bank of America automated service. Or automated email reminder service that Chris is going to dig into. And then finally, we're going to go over latest and greatest with GMAC Recovery, what they've been doing, and some tips along those lines also. So first, let's get rip through this, Chris.
All right.
The new authorization that they're requiring us to sign, or our clients to sign. First, on the top, it's kind of interesting. It says, beware of foreclosure rescue scams. Help is free. It's kind of interesting. In the star, it says, there is never a fee to get assistance or information from your lender or a HUD-approved housing counselor. Then they give you a link for that for the housing-approved HUD counselor. And then another one, it says, another bullet, beware of any person or organization that asks you to pay a fee in exchange for housing counseling services or modification of a delinquent loan. Another bullet, beware of anyone who says they can save your home if you sign over, sign or transfer over the deed to your house. Do not sign over the deed to your property to any organization or individual unless you are working directly with your mortgage company to forgive your debt. And finally, the last bullet, never make your mortgage payments to anyone other than your mortgage company without their approval. And then it says third-party authorization, sign here. So, just so you know, that's a new Wells Fargo authorization. So it's actually pretty cool. It's really a disclosure / authorization. I have no problem with it. You know, I actually like it. But it is what it is. Now let's talk about your Bank of America email notification process.
Right. This is per Equator, and what they're doing is they're basically, we touched on the first one last week, which is titled Awaiting Valuation, which basically just alerts the agent or the third-party negotiator to the fact that the Bank of America has ordered the appraisal or BPO, and they're just waiting for it to come back. This obviously is all part of kind of their effort to keep everybody more in the loop. Insert more steps, if you will, more defined steps into the short sale process, so that whoever's out there, the buyer, their agent, their attorney, or whoever's waiting on approval, can take solace in the fact that it's moving. The property is moving.
I think our buddies over at Equator saw our Prop Tracker system. It kind of took a little
right, yeah.
an idea from us.
Exactly. So that one was waiting valuation. That stage was one that we touched on last week. Recently, in the last week, I've gotten a couple more. These occur later on in the process, and the first one's called awaiting analysis. What this basically is, this step pertains to is when the negotiator has the appraisal or BPO, and they're basically just waiting on internal pieces of information. So in other words, they have the BPO or appraisal, they have all the docs from the seller and agent, the offer, the HUD, so on and so forth, and they're basically waiting on internal stuff. So they're waiting on internal reports, they're waiting on like the payoff amount, what the total payoff is, and so on and so forth.
From the attorneys or whoever they're waiting for, that type of information.
Yeah, or their payoff department, whatever it may be.
Yep.
So that's the awaiting analysis step. The other step is awaiting decision. This comes immediately after they've received those internal pieces of information, and this basically pertains to, this is a message based from the negotiator that says, I have everything I need now, internal as well as external. I have my value, I have the docs, I have the payoff, and I have everything, and now the file is going to be going over to the investor for their review and final approval. So basically awaiting decision. The decision they're waiting is whether or not it's going to be approved by the investor.
So they're going step by step just to keep you notified again in real time.
Right.
Again, a lot exactly what we've been doing for a long time, which is good. It's
Right.
good. It's keeping us informed.
It's nice, but I put a lot of people at ease. You know.
How about GMAC? Let's talk about GMAC recovery.
And GMAC,
Second position.
Second position, right. If any of you have any loans with GMAC Recovery, basically keep in mind and inform everybody once you see a file, you get a file across your desk that has a second that's in recovery. Make sure to let them know that GMAC's recovery department, what they do is they review the file the same month that it's set to close. So in other words, if the file is going to close at the end of August or the end of September, that's the same month that they'll start reviewing the file. So usually what they do is they work on the file, they get it approved, they get everything closed at the end of a given month, and then on the first of the next month is when they start reviewing the files.
So a couple things you need to do. You need to make sure that your seller has their act together with their paperwork,
Right.
the short sale paperwork right away. That's number one. Number two, you need to inform the end buyer also that they need to get their funding in line that month.
Right.
And they're going to need to do it without the actual short sale acceptance letter. And make sure you guys are working in the states with attorneys, obviously, and title companies. Make sure you inform them that you have to start the process right now. That's in what you could look out for, because obviously we have to be careful what we say. We're not telling you to do a certain thing, but it's the best thing to do.
Yeah, and obviously you'll see everywhere too. I mean, a short sale is never a guarantee. If anyone tells you a short sale is a guarantee, I'd be a little nervous. But short sale is never a guarantee. There's always a possibility, obviously, that no matter what, no matter how careful you are, you might spend a few bucks on something and
Yeah,
still
it's
something
part of
collapses
the
at the
game.
last minute. It just comes with the territory.
Part of the game.
Right.
So anyway, bottom line is disclose everything. So when you're dealing with GMAC and the recovery department, just know that is the process.
Right.
So cool. Again, next week, PropTracker.com. That is our online real estate management tool. We have our webinar next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We should be putting a link up on this site. So if you guys want to sign up, check it out. And also you can take a 14-day free trial of PropTracker.com, our real estate management tool. Have a great day. Chris the Drummer Bowes, Bob LaChance getting back to you again. This week's pre-foreclosure tip of the week.
Somebody wake me up. Somebody wake me up, yeah. Somebody please wake me up. Whatever happened to the butterfly?